Tonight on KVR News, controversy surrounding the Callaway House. We talk to workers who say they weren't paid.
Who will be Miss America?
Fallout from that announcement, why some viewers are not pleased with the winner.
And the Longhorns face up against Ole Miss, a recap of Saturday's game.
You're watching KVR News, Austin's leader for live, local UT coverage.
Broadcasting live from the Texas Student Television Studios at the University of Texas. You're watching KVR News at 9, Austin's leader for live, local UT coverage. Your news starts right now.
Good evening. You're watching KVR News for Monday, September 16th. I'm Leslie Adamy.
And I'm Cassandra Jaramillo. Thank you for joining us tonight.
We're following developing news out of Washington, D.C. 12 civilians are confirmed dead this evening and 14 people wounded after a gunman opened fire at the Washington Navy Yard. 34-year-old Aaron Alexis from Fort Worth was killed after exchanging gunfire with officers. There's no information on a motive at this time. Alexis served in the U.S. Navy for nearly 4 years until January 2011, when he was discharged, according to a Navy spokeswoman. Washington Mayor Vincent Gray said, "We don't have any reason at this stage to suspect terrorism, but certainly it has not been ruled out."
Controversial balloon attacks in West Campus are raising questions about race relations at UT. The first reported attack happened this year to Brian Davis before school started. With the second attack coming just 2 weeks later, students are expressing concern that the authorities are not doing enough to stop the attacks. Eduardo Belacazar was walking home with 2 other minority students when a balloon was thrown at him by 26 West. Even though his balloon was not filled with bleach, he feels he was attacked based on his race.
They know people are going to perceive it as a racist act, regardless of if they have bleach in it or not. And it made me feel like this is the first time in my life that I've actually felt like a minority.
Minority students who have been affected by these balloon attacks feel as though they were targeted for their race, but students of Caucasian ethnicity have had similar experiences in alleys just like this. Lauren Paluga is a UT student who says she was walking by University Towers when a cup filled with beer was thrown from a balcony. She thinks there is no excuse for anyone to go through these unpleasant experiences and that these actions need to face larger penalties from authorities.
That can be a broken nose, it could be a nice bruise. I mean, it's actually a safety hazard, and I feel like when we just kind of laugh about it, don't tell anybody, or just kind of say, don't do that again, it really doesn't help the problems.
UTPD was unavailable for an interview but released a statement saying, quote, "Throwing and hitting another person with any object could result in a charge of assault. If you believe you are a victim of assault or any other crime, UTPD urges you to please report the incident by calling 311 if the incident previously occurred off campus, 512-471-4441 if occurred on campus, or 911 if students are in immediate danger anywhere." Cassandra Jaramillo, KVR News. The Black Student Alliance organized a rally on campus last week to discuss campus climate in response to the balloon attacks. UT students and faculty attended the rally, and now the BSA is working on a letter-writing campaign to get more attention from UT officials. The goal is to ensure that all students feel welcome on campus.
We have a lot of racial history with campus and a lot of racial tension as a result of that history. So, I mean, it's only important to talk about those things that happen here so that those people will think differently when they're attempting to throw something out of the window.
And with race relations a hot topic on the 40 acres, UT student government plans to reaffirm its support for race being a factor in the university's admissions process. HG Administrative Director Joshua Tang introduced legislation last week in response to the Supreme Court's decision earlier this year in the Fisher versus UT case. The Supreme Court sent the case back down to the lower court for further consideration. Tang said it's important for the legislation to pass as the new round of student leaders was recently elected.
It's important that each session of student government recommit support to the university's use of race in admissions, especially as our university continues to go through the federal court system.
HG will vote on the legislation tomorrow.
Well, there's been a lot of buzz lately about new apartment blocks in West Campus, and Callaway House is no exception. But not all of the buzz has been positive.
Priscilla Patterson joins us live in the studio with the breakdown of the story.
That's right, Cassandra. The Callaway House is a new freshman dorm at the corner of 22nd and San Antonio. Their website boasts an all-inclusive living experience, an environment conducive to academic achievement, and best-in-class accommodations. But the new dorm has come under a lot of heat lately in regards to its treatment of workers.
Beautiful views, a state-of-the-art workout facility, and a pool that is comparable to that at a resort is what makes the Callaway House the jewel of West Campus life.
As mentioned, seen right behind me is the Callaway House. For many residents, this is a luxurious oasis away from the busy UT life. But for many construction workers this past summer, luxurious was never an option they had.
Estaban arriesgando sus vidas. Todos los días trabajando en el sol.
The workers at Callaway were risking their lives day in and day out working under the sun. Working 60 to 70 hours a week, sometimes not receiving a paycheck. The construction workers at the Callaway House said the management treated them like animals. The working conditions made the already taxing labor that much harder. Andres Hernandez says, "It pained me to work there because we weren't getting paid." Patricia Zavala, Workplace Justice Coordinator, explains that immigration laws are not as they seem.
If you have papers or don't, it doesn't matter. The laws apply to you equally, and you have the right to get minimum wage and overtime and to be fairly compensated for your work.
Filmon Salas, another unpaid construction worker on the Callaway House project, had this to say. Managers weren't paying us. We have to take care of our family and kids. And it's not good to not be paid.
Well, the story was first broke by the New York Times. Going a little more in depth on this now, we reached out to the American Campus Communities, the owner of the Callaway House. They wouldn't talk to us on camera, but did offer a written statement saying, "While we do believe the New York Times article accurately depicts the situation and acknowledges our immediate resolution, we do not believe we have been accurately portrayed by the Workers' Defense Project Communications. However, we do respect the role they played in bringing the matter to our attention to foster a resolution." Now, the workers claim that $59,000 worth of pay was withheld from them. That money has now been released. Live in studio, Priscilla Patterson, KVR News.
We continue to see shocking video out of Colorado as massive flooding hits the area. At least 7 people have been confirmed dead and more than 650 remain unaccounted for after a week of torrential rains in and around the Denver metro area. Nearly 12,000 people have been evacuated from their homes as some communities have been cut off due to washed out roads, bridges, and communication lines. More storms are possible in the area once again on Tuesday. The Texas Giant has reopened nearly 2 months after a woman fell from the roller coaster to her death. Six Flags Over Texas reopened the ride on Saturday with several new improvements. The ride now has seatbelts and a redesigned lap bar restraint, as well as a new test seat at the front of the line. The theme park is currently locked in a lawsuit with the family of victim Rosie Esparza. The 2009 Fort Hood shooting could soon be labeled as an act of terror. U.S. Senators John Cornyn and Ted Cruz introduced the Honoring the Fort Hood Heroes Act on Thursday. The bill was introduced in honor of the 13 killed and 30 injured when Major Nidan Hassan opened fire on the military base in November 2009. The bill would provide more benefits for victims and their families, including life insurance, tax breaks for death in combat, and other combat-related compensation.
Saturday marked the 1-year anniversary of the bomb threat at UT. A man called claiming to be with Al-Qaeda, saying he had placed bombs all over campus. The university faced criticism for the way it handled the evacuation, only telling students to leave campus 15 minutes before the bombs were supposed to detonate. With the anniversary, KVR News spoke to students about safety on campus.
I feel pretty safe. I think those are just like anomalies and nothing really ever happens, I think, other than that. I feel pretty safe.
I feel pretty safe on campus. I think UTPD does a pretty good job. The bomb threat last year, there were some communication issues, but it sounds like they're trying to get them resolved.
Safe. very safe.
I'm not too concerned. The Navy shooting today is a bit disconcerting, but I'm more sorrowful than concerned.
Cap Metro considers closing UT shuttle routes, how you could be affected.
Plus, what new restaurant will be soon popping up on MLK? Stay tuned for more KVR News.